Hello students, just wanted to provide some additional support for those of you having a hard time identifying different angles. As you know, we do have three types of angles: alternate interior, exterior, and corresponding. So today we're just going to draw. We're going to draw 6 different angles, and hopefully this should give you a picture of how to spot the different angles. Now remember that all these angles that we're about to cover, so all these angles are the same, okay? Okay, so let's start by drawing the first one out. So we are going to draw all of them similar to this. You have 2 parallel lines right here. You have a transverse that's going to go like this. Now keep in mind, this transverse can be slightly different, but you just have to identify where the parallel lines are. So we're going to start with this, okay? Between the 2 parallel lines, what you should do is draw a line on the transverse that you are going to determine. Now, I also didn't write this down earlier, but let's just write alternate interior if you just want to write that as well. Okay, so what is the alternate interior? We're going to have one angle that we're going to highlight, and so whenever you're looking at the alternate interiors or looking for them, you have to look for that, create that man, right? That person right here. And remember that it's this under the pits right there, right? That's alternate interior. So that's what you should be looking for. Now we're going to draw another one. And this should be the opposite side of the alternate interior. So I will start again with a transverse right there, right? Between the 2 parallels. So look for the 2 parallels, draw on the transverse there or highlight that. And then I'm going to look for the angle. Maybe now this time it's going to be on this side. And so the alternate interior has to be on the opposite side. And so if you're looking at this angle, then you should find that this angle is the one that's the same, okay? That is alternate interior. It's the one with the Z shape. Now, we're going to cover the second one, which is alternate exterior. Please excuse that. I'm just going to keep writing here. All right, so same thing. We have the 2 parallel lines. We have the transverse going across it. I'm going to identify that these are parallel. Now, rule is very similar. You start by identifying what the transverse is and identify the 2 parallels. Now, keep in mind that this time, but however, instead of being inside the parallel line, you're going to notice that maybe the angle that you're looking at is this one right here, okay? So now you want to highlight that angle right there. And remember that you're making the letter X on the opposite side of the transverse. So you could see how this looks like one giant X that is just kind of like elongated, right? So you can imagine that if I got rid of this section right here, it looks like it's an X, okay? Well, that's it. So you're looking at those 2 angles. Now we're going to draw the opposite looking one. So again, the transverse, again, the parallels, and one more parallel. Okay, so again, start by identifying where's the transverse right here. And this time, maybe the angle is right here. So then you're like, oh, shoot, it's on the outside, right? So you start by putting that up. And then you realize that if you're comparing it with the one on the opposite side here, then they are going to be the same. Again, it makes that X shape, but just the elongated X. All right, and the last one is the corresponding. Oop, let me write that with this. So the corresponding, this is kind of the letter F. And remember that we're talking about the 2 R's. They're kind of the twins here. So we're going to draw these angles out one more. We have the parallel lines. And then we are going to, again, start with the transverse. But now you got to identify where are the angles. So maybe the angle that you're looking for is this one right here. And so you are going to extend a little bit. You're going to compare it to this. Remember, these are the twin angles. So you're getting this angle right here. And that is going to be similar to the angle right here. Or it looks like the opposite letter F, right? Or they're twins, like the 2 twins. The other one that you're going to compare, let's say you have these parallel lines right here. And so it is just the opposite direction. You can compare this and have these 2 angles. So you have these 2 right there. All right, so this is an overview of all the angles. Remember that all these angles that I'm circling, they should be the same, right? The angle in the picture will be the same, the two circle angles. So keep that in mind. If you have any more questions, please feel free to ask, but start trying to identify these. Look for these images in in your work, and don't forget that these could be flipped around too, right? You could flip them around and you're still going to kind of get the same angles, but I try to flip them around as much as possible. But if you rotate your page like 90 degrees, you're going to see that, oh, that's another example of alternate angle.